identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers.
टेरर और टॉक एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।
India will identify, track, and punish every terrorist and their backers.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर केवल एक सैन्य कार्रवाई नहीं, बल्कि यह भारत सरकार के होल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट अप्रोच का जीवन प्रमाण था, जहां पॉलिटिकल विल और मिलिट्री पावर ने आतंकियों पर एक साथ निर्णायक प्रहार किया। हमारी सेनाओं ने अद्वितीय समन्वय, साहस और सटीकता के साथ यह सिद्ध कर दिया कि जब आवश्यकता पड़ती है तो हमारी सेनाएं किसी भी दुस्साहस का मुंहतोड़ जवाब देना जानती हैं। यह ऑपरेशन इस बात का सबूत है कि नया भारत हाथ पर हाथ धरकर नहीं बैठता, बल्कि पक्की रणनीति, मजबूत संकल्प और पूरे सामर्थ्य के साथ दुश्मन को उसकी भाषा में ही जवाब देता है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने यह स्पष्ट कर दिया कि जरूरत पड़ने पर भारत न तो समय देखता है और न ही कोई सीमा। भारत अपने द्वारा तय की गई समय सीमा में दुश्मनों को नष्ट नाबूद करने की ताकत रखता है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर केवल दुश्मनों पर जीत की कहानी नहीं, बल्कि उस आत्मविश्वास का प्रतीक है जहां 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की इच्छा शक्ति हमारे सैनिकों के साहस में बदल जाती है। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर ने यह भी सिद्ध किया है कि आत्मनिर्भर भारत केवल एक संकल्प नहीं, बल्कि हमारी सैन्य शक्ति का आधार बन चुका है। स्वदेशी तकनीक, अपने संसाधनों और अपने संकल्प के बल पर भारत आज न केवल अपनी रक्षा कर रहा है, बल्कि दुश्मनों पर डिसाइसिव एज भी बना रहा है।
India has faced relentless terror attacks for over 3 decades. These attacks have been sponsored by Pakistan. As part of its state policy, Pakistan has recruited, trained, equipped and assisted terrorists to undertake attacks in India through terror organizations, including Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. The Mumbai terror attacks of 2008 were a coordinated assault that struck India's financial capital, leading to loss of many innocent lives and damage to property.
This is the face of terror. A 21-year-old boy from Pakistan.
The attack was linked to Lashkar-e-Taiba, a group operating with impunity across the border in Pakistan. India submitted proof of Pakistan's involvement to the world. But the perpetrators linked to Pakistan stayed free. In 2016, the Pathankot Air Base was attacked. This was Pakistan targeting a strategic military installation. And the attack was executed by the Jaish-e-Mohammed, a proxy extension of the Pak Defence and Intelligence Establishment. Terrorists were neutralized by Indian Defence Forces at the base itself. India chose diplomacy, seeking joint investigation, but Pakistan's inaction exposed its duplicity. That same year, in a pre-dawn strike, heavily armed terrorists attacked the Uri army base, killing soldiers. This attack was linked to Jaish-e-Mohammed and marked one of the deadliest assaults on the Indian army.
आतंकवादी कान खोल के सुन ले, यह देश इस बात को कभी भूलने वाला नहीं है.
India retaliated with surgical strikes and destroyed terrorist camps. In 2019, Pulwama terrorist attack shook the nation. A suicide bomber rammed an explosive-laden vehicle into a convoy of security personnel, killing over 40 paramilitary personnel. Once again, Jaish-e-Mohammed claimed responsibility, reinforcing the persistent threat emanating from across the border. India responded by launching airstrikes on terror infrastructure at Balakot. Jammu and Kashmir had witnessed a remarkable transformation after the abrogation of Article 370. This progress, however, posed a direct challenge to Pakistan, who had inimical designs and was focused on using terrorist groups to keep the region unstable. Therefore, on April 22, 2025, the Pahalgam attack was not just an act of terror. It was a calculated attempt to disrupt the peace and economic development that had returned to Jammu and Kashmir. The terrorists, who were trained and equipped by Pakistan, carried out the dastardly and barbaric attack at Pahalgam.
Prime Minister Modi has skipped the official dinner hosted by Saudi Arabia and has decided to cut his visit short.
The attack was claimed by the Resistance Front, widely regarded as a proxy of Lashkar-e-Taiba. These terrorists were later neutralized by the Indian Defence Forces.
सुलेमान उर्फे फैजल अफगान और जिब्रान 3 आतंकवादी ऑपरेशन महादेव में मारे गए.
It was time that India had to send a message that terror will not go unanswered, a message that those who orchestrate violence will be held accountable, and a message that India will defend its sovereignty with clarity, capability, and unwavering resolve. For long, India has suffered the pain of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism, but it has also forged a nation that stands united against terror, resilient, determined, and prepared to act when it must. In the days that followed the Pahalgam attack, high-level meetings were chaired by the Honorable PM that discussed various options. The Raksha Mantri and the National Security Advisor, in close consultation with Indian intelligence agencies and the Chiefs of Staff Committee, assessed the situation and charted the way ahead. Detailed deliberations followed. The guiding principle was unambiguous. Only terrorist infrastructure would be addressed. A large number of terror targets were considered, which were eventually narrowed down to 9. The Indian Defence Forces over the last few years have undertaken various exercises to enhance jointness, integration, and interoperability. These assisted when the moment of crisis arrived. Once the objectives were clearly defined, the execution framework was set. Commanders were given complete operational freedom, empowered to determine the intensity of response and to choose the time and place best suited for maximum effectiveness.
हमने आतंकवादियों को मिट्टी में मिलाने के लिए भारत की सेनाओं को पूरी छूट दे दी.
A comprehensive escalation matrix was discussed, deliberated, and clearly drawn out. This ensured that actions were not reactive, but calibrated, prepared, and controlled. A system that combined political direction, intelligence inputs, and military capability into a single, coherent strategy. At the forefront were India's cyber and space capabilities. Even before kinetic actions commenced, cyber assets were actively employed to monitor Pakistan's critical systems. Simultaneously, space-based assets were repositioned to enable multiple revisits over areas of interest with the help of ISRO. India's intelligence agencies also sprang into action. At the heart of this integration was the Joint Operations Control Center, supported by a robust and secure joint communication architecture. Deployment of weapons such as the BrahMos and Akash missile systems reflected interoperability. Secure and integrated communication networks also enabled the establishment of a highly effective air defense grid, with indigenous equipment playing a major role. Logistics, the backbone of military success, operated with exceptional efficiency. Equipment and resources were moved seamlessly across vast distances in very short time frames. Operation Sindoor was, in every sense, a first-of-its-kind multi-domain operation. Traditional domains of land, sea and air were seamlessly integrated with emerging domains of cyber, space and cognitive warfare. Equally significant was the whole-of-nation approach that underpinned the operation, including civil defense and blackout drills. The Honorable Raksha Mantri galvanized the Ministry of Defense into a cohesive and highly responsive entity. Interdepartmental coordination ensured that the defense forces were fully supported, logistically, administratively, and operationally. He provided clear direction and leadership.
आतंकवादियों और उनके आकाओं के लिए सरहद पार की जमीन भी सुरक्षित नहीं रहेगी.
India launched precision strikes commencing at 0105 hour. Nine targets in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Pakistan were hit. The attack lasted 22 minutes. The plan and attack timings was measured and non-escalatory to prevent civilian casualties. The strikes were backed by a silent yet potent maritime posture. The Indian Navy had pre-deployed its potent submarines and the carrier battle group to ensure total sea-based deterrence. On culmination of the strikes, Indian DGMO informed Pakistani DGMO that Operation Sindoor strikes have been undertaken against terror targets, and any retaliation by Pakistan would be considered as escalation and responded accordingly. India also offered to commence talks. Pakistan refused to talk and threatened India of military actions. The targets were chosen to seek justice for the numerous terror attacks undertaken by the LET and JEM and other terrorist organizations over the years, under the active guidance of the Pakistan military and intelligence apparatus. Pakistan, true to its nature, started with misinformation campaigns and peddled falsehood about India targeting Pakistani civilians to hide their inadequacies and failure. The Indian strikes were immensely successful and eliminated more than 100 terrorists, along with terror infrastructure.
बावलपुर से इस टाइम रिपोर्ट कर रहे हैं आपको कि मौलाना मसूद अजहर साहब के मदरसे में 4 धमाके हो चुके हैं.
The Indian Air Force has demolished all lies around Operation Sindoor, and this video shows you how terror bases were dismantled in Pakistan.
India relied only on transparency, truth, and reported facts. The presence of Pakistan army officers at the funeral of LET terrorists killed at Muridke is explicit evidence of the Pakistan state apparatus being hand in glove with the terror organizations. Rattled by India's precision strikes, Pakistan resorted to indiscriminate firing. The firing did not differentiate between India's military and civilians, and targeted local population and their property. They did not spare even religious sites. Pakistan, despite being warned, behaved irresponsibly and escalated the situation with infiltration of drones in Indian airspace and intense cross-border firing on Indian military targets. The Indian Air Defence Grid and counter-UAS deployment neutralized enemy drones, and our cross-border firing caused widespread destruction of enemy posts. Indian response thwarted the enemy actions effectively. Pakistan was again given an opportunity to cease hostilities. Pakistan did not mend its ways and continued ceasefire violations along the line of control. It continued attacking Indian cities, airfields, troop deployments, and military installations. Once again, they targeted innocent civilians and their property. The enemy was trying to provoke India. India held its nerve and gave a proportionate response. The uncoordinated Pakistan drones were overwhelmed by India's active air defense from Kashmir to Gujarat and could not cause any significant damage. The drones were destroyed by the relentless engagements by India's air defense and counter-UAS grid. The Indian Army gave a befitting reply to cross-border firing by Pakistan. Pakistan attempted another misadventure when its fighter aircraft attempted to approach Indian airspace. It was immediately detected. The aerial package was forced to return by our alert surface-to-air missile deployments. The weapons launched by Pakistan fell intact within Indian territory. The time to respond to continued Pakistan belligerence had come. The Indian Air Force prepared for a strike into Pakistan, targeting their radars and air defense sites. The Indian Air Force attacks on Pakistan air defense radars and missiles led to vast gaps in Pakistan's aerial surveillance. Pakistani drones continued with violation of Indian airspace. Pakistan also remained oblivious to differentiation between military and civilian targets. India responded appropriately and rationally. Indian Army and Border Security Force targeted the Pakistani bases and locations being used for cross-border firing. The Pakistani air defense sites were also targeted. The Indian strategy was to create resistance-free corridors in the Pakistani airspace to assist future operations in case Pakistan did not cease hostilities. The loss of Pakistan's surveillance capability caused disarray in their assessment of the battle situation and response mechanism to the Indian Air Force attacks. Pakistan was left numb and blinded. The Indian Navy, along with Coast Guard, was maintaining its positions in Arabian Sea and ensured sea control. The reconnaissance aircraft, supported by space assets and intelligence networks, kept Pakistani ports under constant surveillance. India continued to dominate the escalatory ladder through a well-coordinated intelligence grid. Pakistan leadership was found peddling falsehoods and were constantly getting fact-checked by the world media. Meanwhile, it was revealed by Indian intelligence agencies that Pakistan was planning to launch Operation Bunyan and Marsoos against India. India started preparations for a retaliatory strike if Pakistan undertakes any escalatory operation. Pakistan launched missiles, rockets, drones and air-to-surface missiles on Indian airfields. These missiles were successfully intercepted by Indian airfield air defense systems. Indian Air Force launched counter-strikes on Pakistan's important forward and depth bases, for which the corridors were cleared earlier. Indian Air Force targeted air bases of Noor Khan, Murid, Sargodha, Rafiki, Rahim Yar Khan, Jacobabad, Sakkar and Bholari. These bases were struck preemptively as Pakistan was preparing to use them for Operation Bunyan and Marsoos. The strikes destroyed strategic assets like the airborne early warning and control aircraft, transport aircraft, UAVs, and large number of fighter jets. Indian Air Force's S-400 air defense system successfully targeted enemy aircraft at more than 300 kilometers. These strikes were not merely a tactical blow. It was a strategic message that India has the reach, the intent, and the means to respond decisively.
बोलारी एयरबेस पे ये दो धमाके हुए हैं।
वो ये सामने धमाका हुआ है।
घर के ऊपर खड़ा हूँ, ये सामने अभी धमाका हुआ है, अभी।
Pakistan was in shock and awe of the ferocity and effectiveness of the Indian attack. It could barely launch Operation Bunyan and Marsoos, and its failure is a fact acknowledged by the Pakistani Prime Minister.
We decided to respond in a measured fashion to Indian aggression, but before that hour reached, India again launched missile attacks, BrahMos, and hit Pakistan's various provinces, including airport in Rawalpindi and other places.
The Indian battlefield success finally forced Pakistan to mend its ways, and it requested India for cessation of hostilities and expressed their desire to initiate talks. As the air and land attacks by India raged, the Indian Navy's stealth destroyers and frigates were poised to strike the Makran coast and targets off Karachi. The imminent threat triggered a wave of panic within the Pakistani establishment. It once again requested for cessation of hostilities and commencement of talks. India agreed for cessation of hostilities with effect from 5 p.m. on 10 May.
The Director General of Military Operations of Pakistan called the Director General of Military Operations of India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time today.
ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कोई सामान्य सैन्य अभियान नहीं है। ये भारत की नीति, नियत और निर्णायक क्षमता की त्रिवेणी है। जब हमारी फौजें न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की धमकी की हवा निकाल देती है तो आकाश से पाताल तक एक ही बात गूंजती है, भारत माता की जय।
We sent a message that our actions were against terrorists and not the Pakistan forces. There was exceptional coordination between the Army, Navy, Air Force and intelligence wing throughout the operations. This is a demonstration of tri-service operational synergy.
India always believes in facts. It kept the media and international community informed of conduct of operations and grave Pakistani provocation.
इस बार हम आगे की कार्रवाई करेंगे और जैसी कार्रवाई करेंगे कि हो सकता है पाकिस्तान को सोचना पड़े कि उसे इतिहास में भूगोल में रहना है कि नहीं रहना। अगर उसे भूगोल में अपनी जगह बनानी है तो उसके लिए उसका देश जो टेररिज्म को स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है उसे रोकना पड़ेगा।
The aggressive posturing and the immediate actions which we took, including deployment of carrier battle group in the northern Arabian Sea, forced the Pakistan Navy to remain either in their ports or airports or close to Makran coast.
We were able to strike with precision, with minimal collateral, trying our best not to have any casualties from civilian side, and we were able to bring them to their knees in actually speaking one night of intensive operations.
The success of India's indigenous equipment in Operation Sindoor established India as a major hub of defense equipment manufacturing and led to large-scale increase in export of India's indigenously manufactured defense equipment.
Op Sindoor is different from all the wars India has fought up till now. The operation demonstrated the ability of Indian Armed Forces to conduct multi-domain operations, a capability created through jointness, integration and capability building in the new domains of warfare. We dominated the enemy in all domains and dimensions of the conflict. Operation Sindoor also demonstrated superior situational awareness at every level of escalation. The battlefield transparency that the Indian forces achieved over each of its missions, their results, and what we denied to the enemy helped us to prevail on a winning note. Clear political directions, seamless coordination with other instruments of national power, and use of indigenous technologies and platforms helped us to achieve politico-military objectives identified for the conflict. A year on, Sindoor stands as a victory of facts over false narratives and professionalism over antagonism. When India decides, India delivers decisively, responsibly, and on its own terms.
पहला, भारत पर आतंकी हमला हुआ तो मुंह तोड़ जवाब दिया जाए। हम अपने तरीके से, अपनी शर्तों पर जवाब देकर रहेंगे। हर उस जगह जाकर कठोर कार्रवाई करेंगे जहां से आतंकी जड़ें निकलती हैं। दूसरा, कोई भी न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल भारत नहीं सहेगा। न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की आड़ में पनप रहे आतंकी ठिकानों पर भारत सटीक और निर्णायक प्रहार करेगा। तीसरा, हम आतंकी सरपरस्त सरकार और आतंक के आकाओं को अलग अलग नहीं देखेंगे। टेरर और टॉक एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते। पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।